Body shot. Ooh, that hurt, didn't it?
When adrenaline starts pumping and you know what you can do with this right hand, it's hard to not do that.
Here are your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
At the prime age of 42 years old, we have a new light heavyweight champion, Glover Teixeira, man. Fresh out of Brazil, came into the UFC in 2012. Should have been on the Ultimate Fighter around 2004, 2005. But hey, never give up on your dreams, folks. The legendary Polish power of Jan Blachowicz has been defeated, has been dethroned. And hey, we got a lot to talk about. So I am your host, Derick G, and checking in with me, as always, is my co-host, the New Mexico native, the Santa Fe bomber himself. AJ, brother, what's happening, man? Do you feel a little added sense of optimism, an added sense of being able to achieve and accomplish your dreams after watching Teixeira pull off what many thought would have been a miracle? Legitimately, man, at 42 years old, he becomes the second oldest UFC champion of all time. The first is Randy Couture at a prime 45 years old, man, but this is just about right up there, man. How you feeling?
Man, you have to, right? Like, you have to, man. This dude proved that literally nothing is impossible as long as you stay determined, have that grit, have that warrior spirit. We preach it here all the time, man. I love to see it. It was a shocker to watch. But man, then like you said, right after that hits, you start thinking about it, and you're like, oh damn, man, that was fucking impressive as fuck. Yeah, I liked it. How you
Absolutely.
feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. In the great words of Kevin Garnett, nothing is impossible, my man. Come on. I'm feeling rejuvenated. I'm feeling hyped up. Not just because of that, but because we also saw a little bit of karmic correction, a little bit of that karmic justice you like to talk about, or cosmic justice, however you want to call it, with Petr Yan, no mercy, becoming a technically two-time bantamweight champion, even though he won the interim strap. He says he feels emotionally empty inside after winning that belt because he needs to fight Aljamain Sterling to really right the wrong that happened, man, a couple months back when he lost the belt via a illegal knee strike to the head. Lost his belt for it. So that was great, man. But I will say on the other side, man, Cory Sandhagen, man, what a story, what a man. We have a lot to talk about in regards to that matchup, and we'll talk about him in just 1 second, man. But AJ, man, Khamzat Chimaev, yo, a wrecking ball, an unstoppable force, an immovable object, whatever you want to call it, my man, it does not matter because he made light work of the Li Jingliang, the first man to stop him inside of a round. I think the only other time Li Jingliang has been stopped was like in the third round of a fight. So impressive stuff, man. Give me what you're thinking right there on the rise of Khamzat, man. This is unprecedented. What do you think?
Bro, we've seen some killers come up through these ranks, you know, the greats, you know, Khabib Nurmagomedov. There's so many names that you could just list off of absolute killers out there. I don't think we've seen anyone quite like Boz. This dude, Chimaev, is a wrecking ball. He could have easily taken down the Leech, you know, quick couple seconds right away, but he said, you know what, I'm gonna hold this dude up like he's my child while I'm yelling at Uncle Dana to give me the shot, man. This dude is another level. We even saw, I mentioned Khabib's name first because it's one that came to mind when he always talked to his opponents while he has them on the ground. Well, that's, you know, a couple minutes into the round, you know, there's some time worked where Khamzat, he's just doing it right off the jump. This dude's a killer, bro. What you thinking?
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I also think it's a little funny how his trash talk is very eerily similar to Sean Strickland's. However, there's much different reaction from it, right? Because when Khamzat says, yo, man, I'm going to drink your blood, I'm going to eat your head, like, I'm going to do all that, like, it's no big deal, I want to kill you, yeah, no, oh, yeah, awesome, great, you know what I mean? Shout out to the Chechenian machine over there in, you know, Khamzat. But when Sean Strickland says, like, I fantasize about killing somebody, they got, like, oh, this dude's about to, like, shoot up a grocery store or something, you feel me? Like, this dude's crazy, you know? So I would just say interesting to see how the representation is a little bit changed depending on what geographic region you come from, but nonetheless, man, we got some killers out there. This is a dangerous sport, man. This is a tough guy sport for real, you feel me? But all right, man, last piece of business that we need to talk about before we get into the recap of the past weekend is Islam Makhachev, man. I just want to say 9-fight win streak, my man. He's now clearly firmly in the lightweight title picture. It's pretty much something that I feel like we've all seen coming, but the way that he starts Dan Hooker, real quick, obviously we'll save our takes for later, but he starts the man very, very quickly. Got the Kimura, almost tore the man's shoulder off of his body. Did you see this coming?
I mean, yeah, to be honest. Yeah. It was like I said in the pre-show, man, this is a risky pick I had. I was going for Hooker. I was, you know, it was not the smart move, and we can easily see why, man. He made light work of him. it's almost hard not to see coming, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, these guys are trained. Him and Chimaev are on very similar courses where they're just starting everybody in their path. But AJ, man, we didn't do too bad ourselves, my man. I went 5-1 on the main card. You went 4-2. But I got a little bit of bad news just for myself, man. I was on the verge, my man. I was so close, dude. 13 fights in a row that I picked correctly, folks. I got 8-0 on the prelims, 5-0 on the main card until the heavyweight title fight where Jan Blachowicz got upset in 2 rounds against Glover, man. My lord, I'm still hurting. I feel it in my chest, you know what I'm saying? But hey, I think that 13-1, right? I think we should take some of the benefit from that. We could look at the optimism and say cup half full as opposed to half empty, my man. But AJ, one thing that is surprising to me is that on 14 fights that we had over here, only 2 upsets from opening line odds. That's very, very chalky, which is also why I take a little less credit from getting all these right, because it wasn't that hard. You just pick the favorite. You're basically winning most of these fights. What does that tell you, my man, when we have such a chalky week, when all the favorites are basically getting the job done? It feels a little Bellator-esque, does it not?
It kind of does, man. It feels a little Bellator-esque until you really start hitting the top tier of the divisions. Then it starts really being a little bit more of a guesswork. But even still then, with a couple of these fighters we have, it's really not guesswork. A little bit Bellator-esque. You expected a little bit more. That might have been why they made this one an ESPN Plus instead of a pay-per-view.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. There was a lot of names that a lot of people probably did not recognize unless you've been watching MMA, especially the UFC specifically, for quite some time. And this is an Abu Dhabi card, man, so it was fun. I enjoyed the early start time, man. We started at, 9:30? You know what I'm saying? I had to work at 4. I was able to catch all the fights and do my prep for the show. Come on, what are we talking about, man? But, all right, AJ, listen, man. Couple months left, folks. It's October 31st. We got a couple months left to the end of the year. 120-85 am I. 104 and 101 is my brother AJ. And if we're talking about numericals, if we're talking about math, logic, and all this good stuff, mathematically, we are both still in this fight very much, man. Anything can happen over the course of the many events that will be taking place over the next 2 months. And folks, if you forget what we are fighting for, if you're watching, you can see in the corner this beautiful belt that we have here, the Bloody Water Podcast 2021 Undisputed Championship of the World. We are fighting neck and neck for that to see who's going to be hanging it up behind us, man, having it look pretty for the next year or so. But just wanted to give you guys a reminder that this was a big week, man. This week counted, and both of us showed up pretty well, man. I mean, listen, you took the risky pick, but you could have got one up more than me if you would have got it, man. So with that being said, AJ, let's hit a little bit of some rankings recap, my man. I think it's only right. All right, my man. All right, AJ, so the man we were just talking about needs to be brought into this conversation, and he goes by Khamzat Chimaev, man. Dana White said it himself. He says, listen, this dude wants to fight all the time. This dude wants to, basically be that killer that a Kevin Holland was, but on a big-time, prime-time level. And he says it's a little hard to do it when you're in the top 10, which is obvious, right? Once you get in that top 15, top 10, those fights start slowing down. You get the bigger names, you get the longer training camps. We already know how it goes. But AJ, my man, Khamzat Chimaev, he was ranked number 31 in the middleweight division. He has no ranking in the welterweight division. He beats number 11th ranked Li Jingliang. He is firmly now in the top 11, if not top 10. However, neither of us have him in our rankings. The UFC does not have them in their UFC rankings in the top 15. So my question to you is, where do we put Chimaev, man? Because though he has had this unprecedented run in the UFC, right, where I believe the statistic, or I'll bring that statistic up in a second, but basically, man, he's smashed through everybody in the first or second round. He's taken basically like one punch, you know what I'm saying, as opposed to like the 100-something that he's put on his opponents, man. Do you think he is, like, obviously he's legit. Obviously this dude is special. Obviously he's McGregor-esque, right? But I'm talking about now when you say, all right, now the people you're fighting are the Wonder Boys, the Neil Magny's, the Gilbert Burns, the Colby Covingtons. Is he that same animal? Is he that same monster as these guys that we're talking about? Because these are some of the best to do it in the world. What do you think? Where are you putting him, man? Is he in your top 10, top 8? What are we thinking?
See, I think the easiest way to go is kind of how we've always been talking about it. You fight this guy for his spot. That's where you put him. So if that's the case, you'd have to put him at number 11. But honestly, I think he's better than that, man. I think he's better than 11. I'm looking at my rankings right here. And as far as the name recognition, is he as recognizable as Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington, Leon Edwards, these guys who have been doing for quite some time? At least name-wise, no. But I do think talent-wise, yes, man. I think talent-wise, this dude is far above where anybody's going to put him. I'm thinking, honestly, man, there needs to be some shuffling around going in mine, but I'm thinking right around that 5-6 mark. This dude is a killer. Like he's legit, and I think if we don't face him with somebody above that, it's almost a detriment to that person. Like it's just we're sending a lamb to slaughter. And we need to be thinking about how this dude needs to be fighting up there, man. We need to put him against somebody who's actually able to defend himself well. And I'm thinking around that 5-6 mark, to be honest. We'll see. It gets real. The hard part is it gets real packed with the people who have done so much for so long, but haven't done too much recently. At least in my 5, 6, 7 with Stephen Thompson, Jorge Masvidal, Leon Edwards. They've had a little bit, but especially talking about Stephen Thompson, he hasn't just had a good fight in, I don't know, maybe a couple months, which is crazy to say. It's you think it's a long time, but it's really only a couple months. So what do you think? Where are you putting him, Derick?
Well, listen, man, I think that he can firmly go somewhere in between number 11 and number 8 for me. When I heard Dana White say he's going in the top 10, that's what he said. Those were his words, right? I was like, okay, that's interesting because for the UFC, their top 10 consists of at 10, Jeff Neal. So I'm going from 10 to 1. Jeff Neal, Bilal Muhammad, Neil Magny, Michael Chiesa, Jorge Masvidal, Wonderboy Thompson, Luque, Leon Edwards, Gilbert Burns, Colby Covington, right? So if he belongs in that tier of fighters, that's very telling coming from the boss himself. But this is what I need to say, AJ. I just want to go new. I want to go kind of one by one. I want to ask back and forth, like, where do you think, who stacks up a little bit better? Do you think that right now Khamzat Chimaev deserves to be above Jeff Neal in the rankings?
Yes.
Do you believe that right now Khamzat belongs above Jorge Masvidal in the rankings?
That's a hard one, man. I'd say yes, and actually on mine I have him at 4, and I'm probably gonna move Jorge down to number 6, number 7, and move Khamzat somewhere up there. So,
because if you look at it, right, we have these big names. Even the Nate Diaz's, who really he probably should be ranked if Jorge Masvidal is ranked, because these are dudes who are dropping a lot of fights in their last, 5. Conor McGregor as well, even though he's not in the welterweight division, but nonetheless. Okay, the last one that I have here, AJ, because I think this is just a little bit interesting. Do you think that he should be above Bilal Muhammad in the rankings?
Yes, 100%.
Now, let me ask you why exactly, because Bilal Muhammad was on a 5-fight win streak before losing to Leon Edwards, right? So it's like, okay, how has Khamzat's 4-fight win streak in the UFC over majority prospects and 2 actual names, one who came at middleweight, so it doesn't really count for the welterweight division, how does that surpass Bilal Muhammad fighting actual killers in the welterweight division? What do you think?
Fully on perception for me of how they're getting it done, how Khamzat's getting it done, and the time spent in the cage. I don't have Bilal Muhammad's stats pulled up right now. Probably can real quick, but I'm sure it's a lot of later fights, later decisions. At least in my memory, Bilal Muhammad isn't really necessarily so much of a killer.
Yeah.
He's more of a point fighter, get it done, hit you from the outside, piece you up, nice hands, very fast. Whereas Khamzat Chimaev is just rip your heart out, eat your blood,
Okay, so I'm understanding. And Bilal Muhammad is absolutely a killer, but yes, he does get it done by decision. But I feel what you're saying. So it sounds to me that you're saying, well, if Khamzat is going to come out here, he's going to literally smash everybody, you know what I mean? He's going to make it look easy. He's going to sun these people. Well, then he deserves a higher spot in the ranking because it's about like style points, right? You know what I mean? You could do a layup or you could be Michael Jordan and do the Air Jordan dunk. You feel me? It's like it's different. Like if Michael Jordan just did a layup, he probably wouldn't have his logo everywhere. You know what I mean? So, it's one of those things, man. So, okay, that's interesting. So that goes to show, folks, that he, I guess, will be in the top 10 of both of our rankings. Where? That is yet to be seen. Tune in on Tuesday. Hit us up at the website, bloodywaterpodcast.com, to see our rankings. Come Tuesday, they will be freshly updated for you good folks. But I just wanted to basically see where we're at because this has been one of the quickest rises in UFC history in terms of a prospect kind of putting himself into title contention because one more big win for Chimaev, especially against a top 10 opponent, you have to almost guarantee that they're going to be having the buzzes of like, yo, what's up, Khamzat, you next? We'll see. We'll see, my man. So right before we move on, AJ, just turn me down in the monitors just a little bit, my man, and then we can get into a little bit of recap, dog. So before we, do the fighter of the night and all that stuff, just a couple of prelim fights that I wanted to shout out, man. Amanda Ribas gets back in the win column against Virna Jandiroba, man. But it was a really good fight. It was a really, really good fight. It was back and forth, and Jandiroba's stand-up has improved, man. She looked good. She looked very good. So I was kind of feeling away because I didn't want her to lose because she's one of my favorite prospects. But I was really happy to see Amanda Ribas get back in that win column. 8-2 in her last 10. She moves to 5-1 in the UFC, but she got clipped in that first round, AJ. She got clipped, and for a second, I was like, oh no, this is the Marina Rodriguez fight all over again, but against a grappler, against, you know what I mean? Like, oh, this can't be happening. What did this fight say to you about the comeback of Amanda Ribas? Do you think she still has that hype that she had before getting knocked out twice against Marina Rodriguez, or do you think she's slowly building her way back up?
No, I think she still has the same kind of hype. At least to me, this showed how crazy good the striking of Marina Rodriguez is. Yeah, I mean, Virna Jandiroba isn't necessarily known as the best striker, but we saw her get dropped. That improvement, we saw Virna Jandiroba drop Ribas in this fight. So the improvement of the striking was very much so for Jandiroba, and it just made Rodriguez have to step it up. You saw her take that crack and then step up like, all right, whoa, I'm with a real deal striker now. Like, this girl's good, and she's good on the ground. She was controlling me the entire first round. I think it just showed that Ribas was able to step it up when needed to. It was almost like she was kind of fighting Jandiroba's fight so much a little bit, and then she gets cracked, kind of gets dominated a little bit on the ground. Her come back to her corner, and they say, yo, you need to be on top. You need to dominate this girl. That's what she goes out and does. Stuffs all the takedowns, hits some nice wizard kicks in there. Yeah, she, to me, Ribas still has the same, maybe not the exact same level, but still a pretty good amount of hype, right around the same amount of level of hype going forward. Very much a contender, or going to be a contender here soon. It's going to be interesting to see where they place her next. How are you feeling about Amanda Ribas, Derek?
Well, I will say one thing that I learned about her today is that wrestling is an area where she probably needs to up her game just a little bit, because what you saw was what I thought was just jiu-jitsu versus jiu-jitsu, but clearly there's levels to this, right? Because Amanda Ribas actually practiced judo as well to supplement her jiu-jitsu, whereas Virna Jandiroba, I feel like, has supplemented wrestling with her jiu-jitsu, you feel me? So what was interesting about it is that Ribas was trying to hit these little hip tosses on Jandiroba, right? And Jandiroba was able to win these wrestling scrambles. So I was like, okay, that's really interesting. This is a new element of your game. The striking was looking sharp, as always, for Amanda Ribas. But like I said, the improved striking of Jandiroba. What stood out to me the most for Ribas, man, is she had that locked-in look in her eyes where she was ready to go. Like, she looked locked in. Like, I'm not fucking around. I'm in the zone. When you achieve that nice flow state that a lot of athletes and fighters fail to do so many times, because, you don't really want to be thinking about random thoughts while you're in the middle of a fist fight, right? It's like Jared Vandera when he had said he was getting beat up by Sergey Spivak, and he was just looking at the trash cans outside of the cage and being like, that's interesting. Why is that there? Oh, wait, I'm getting my face smashed by a 200-pound plus dude on top of me. Like, okay, maybe I need to be locked in, man. So that was really impressive to me, because it's easy to lose your mental fortitude once you get knocked out, man. Once you get put in a big spot, you had the hype, and then you failed to meet the moment at that time. But I think one thing that was really important that she had said in her pre-fight presser was that, listen, coming from that judo background, sometimes you have 6 fights in a day. And sometimes you go 3-2. Sometimes you win them all. Sometimes you lose them all. But either way, you keep it pushing. Like, it's not the end of the world. Like, stop tripping. You feel me? So, big bounce back performance by Amanda Ribas, man. That was very impressive to see. Interesting that we'll talk about it in depth a little bit more, man. The Lizu dos Santos fight, the Zaleski dos Santos, I should say, versus Benoit Saint Denis. Interesting reffing. There was a bit of a pummel, a bit of a beat down. I just wanted to shout that out because the referee, who I'll have his name in just one second when we do the photo collection, because I got something to talk about for there, man. Interesting stuff, AJ. Controversy, foreshadowing, all that good stuff, man. Give me your take, man, on the Leron Murphy knee, the Masvidal-esque knee to Makwan Amirkhani's chin. Listen, dude. That was beautiful, stunning fashion. It's another testament to why you shouldn't shoot with reckless abandon, because people will have something waiting for you down that pipe. But the biggest thing to me, AJ, is that this was very Masvidal-esque, man. Like, in a way, I'm just like, well, this is almost what Masvidal did, except obviously it came differently. It was a perfectly timed shot. There's like very little hype about it. I feel like it happened and then it just kind of forgot about it. You know what I mean? Like, nobody really cares about it anymore. The day after, nobody's talking about, did you see that knee? But we're talking about it. So what do you think, AJ?
Man, this knee was wild, and it just proves why you don't shoot with your hands out wide open like this, man. You always got to defend yourself. At least set the shot up with some hands first. That way, they're a little bit off center. But man, Laron Murphy was able to jump what looked like 6 feet in the air and get that knee, bro. It was wild. I missed it the first time. I had to go back and watch it again. I specifically went back and watched this fight just because, that hype was real, man. Laron Murphy, and that, to be honest, I don't know why the hype on it isn't so like crazy, because it's a star-studded, like it's literally one of those highlight reel KOs that you're gonna put on. We're gonna see those for anytime he's fighting next. We're gonna be seeing that knee all the time. And we were talking a little bit before about Khamzat's style of how he gets things done. And I think it's crazy that Laron Murphy isn't getting the same kind of respect with it, because that's the same highlight style of finish. It's just a different kind of order. So it's weird to see that one has precedence over the other, but it just comes with that name. Laron Murphy just hasn't built up that name yet, I guess.
I agree. And also Masvidal, he does his like little celebrations. He did the nap time one where he falls down, all that good stuff, right? But listen, man, the prelims, it started off with a bang, man. We had a split decision, then we had a submission, 2 knockouts in a row, and then decision fest for the rest, man. And I thought we were really going somewhere with that. But in total of the 14 fights, we had we had six finishes in 14 fights, man. So maybe, like you said, AJ, before, this was why this was a free pay-per-view card, if that's what you want to call it, man. But fun stuff, man. Fun stuff overall, man. So let's talk fighter of the night, AJ. Let's do it, my man. A lot of people you could pick from. A lot of prelim fighters, a lot of main card fighters. You go first, my man. Who is your fighter of the night? Who had the intangibles? Who brought the best performance, the best story, the best narrative, had the most hype? All of these things packaged into one to create your UFC 267 fighter of the night.
My fighter of the night, Derick, man. There's a lot of choices you can go, whether you want to go ones that I kind of felt were a layup, ones kind of just out of left field. I'm going with a dude who showed absolute grit, determination, fought probably his best fight, and still came up short, man. I'm talking about the Sandman. Dude, I just blanked his name real quick. Cory Sandhagen. Yeah, Sandman, Cory Sandhagen, man. Woo! It was, like I said, he lost, but it was a hell of a fight. Good fight, man. Came out, both of them very fast. Made Jan look a little bit more human than anybody else has ever done it. We saw Aljo just completely get obliterated by Jan, whereas Sandhagen was actually able to maintain that distance, stay off his back, not get caught up in the foot trips, not get caught up on the sweeps, really able to counter Jan and make him hurt. And like I said, still lost the fight. But Sandhagen fought possibly his best fight in the entire UFC history that he's had. And if it wasn't for Jan being in the division, Cory Sandhagen would be the champ, man. It's without a doubt, this dude is for real, legitimate contender. We saw the Cosmic Universe kind of put him back into the limelight. It just wasn't his time because Jan is so good. But I'm not here to talk about Jan, man. Cory Sandhagen showed grit and determination and humbleness. The fact that he even lost the fight, and after he was like, yeah, man, like, it sucks. He was better, all credit to him. I'll be back. That right there said it all to me, man. I'll be back. I'll be better. I'll be coming back. The grit and the heart that he showed made waves to me and the people I talked to, because the fact that you're able to go out there and get your ass kicked and then still keep coming back and still be down to give a ring interview after and not just storm out like we've seen, the Paulo Costas or the Marvin Vittori's or any of these other people do, just absolutely made Cory Sandhagen a star in my eyes. And the fact that he's able to keep going like that, it's going to mean great things for him coming up in his future. That's my fighter of the night, Derick. Cory the Sandman Sandhagen. I don't even know if that's his real nickname, but it's a good one. Either way, man, I like him as a fighter. Who's your fighter of the night, Derick?
Well, I will say that is the man's nickname right there. Great nickname, man. And I'm glad that you brought that one up as your fighter of the night. That came a little bit out of left field, but I enjoy it, and I do want to come back and return to this topic here in a little bit. But I will say my fighter of the night is going to be a little bit different, AJ. So let me boot it up. Let me gear it up. All right, folks. So my fighter of the night for UFC 267. This one's gonna be a layup, man. But it's because of the destruction at this man's path. It's because this man is so heralded. He had all the pressure. He was fighting in his hometown, and I'm talking about Islam Makhachev here, man. He was fighting in his hometown, not really, but this is kind of his home turf, right? Abu Dhabi. He's got the whole crowd behind him. He knows he needs an impressive finish. He knows that if he wins decisively, what are people going to say? Oh, Dan Hooker, well, he's not a good grappler anyways. When all of the hype before the fight was, oh, it's Dan Hooker, man. I don't know. This dude's knocked out a lot of people. He's a really good striker. Even you, AJ, even you were saying it. He's a dangerous striker, man. This is the most dangerous striker he's ever fought. It didn't matter because Islam Makhachev says, I'm going to do the same thing that Khamzat does. I'm going to throw a strike, shoot a double leg, get you on the ground, and I'm going to submit you or I'm going to smash you. It's going to go one of two ways, and you don't really have much say in that option right there or in that choice, in the matter at all in its entirety. But it's crazy to me because if we're looking at Islam Makhachev, he's on a 9-fight win streak, 5 finishes in that span, 4 decisions, which also goes to show that it's not fluky. He's not just finishing everybody. He can win a decision. He can win on points if he needs to. He's crushed everybody who has stepped in front of him except for Davi Ramos and Arman Sarukian, but those were still really big wins by both of those fighters, or on both of those fighters. And his first round submission of Dan Hooker, which was a Kimura, his 4th round submission against Thiago Moises, a BJJ black belt by rear naked choke, and his 3rd round submission against Drew Dober, which was an arm triangle. It just goes to show how good the man is. And he's actually the 21st UFC fighter in the history of the sport to have won by submission with 4+ different techniques, right? So it goes to show, well-rounded in his submissions, man. Well-rounded in the sambo, well-rounded in his jiu-jitsu. You know what time it is, man. So it goes because it's hard to do things, AJ, decisively and effectively when you're expected to do those things. And he still does it regardless of who you put in front of him. He's basically begging for a title shot at this point. And that is why, all in all, through and through, Islam Makhachev is my fighter of the night, man. It's easy. You could have went Khamzat for that one, but who's been more impressive than Khamzat at a higher level, who has the expectation? Yes, Khamzat, if he would have lost, I do think people could have said, oh, well, he's coming off of COVID, this, that, and the other. It's been a little while since he's fought. If Islam Makhachev would have lost, there would have been no excuse. He would have gotten everything on him because he says Dan Hooker is big chicken. He no want fight me. You know what I mean? But what does he do? Goes in there, Kimura's him, get the fuck out of here, bro. What are we talking about? You're not a grappler. Yeah, you strike. You're grappling, shit. You're wrestling, 0. Jiu-jitsu, 0, right? Shout out Khabib. You know what I'm saying? But that's why, like I said, that's my fight of the night. It gets me fired up, AJ, because it's one of those things where it's like, Michael Jordan, right? And I'm not comparing Islam Makhachev to Michael Jordan, but I'm using, or LeBron James. Even worse. I'm not even using either of these guys as an example. But I'm saying you expect LeBron James, every time you show up at one of his games, to have the game of his life. You expect him to do great things every time you show up. Well, for Islam Makhachev, that's what we're expecting out of the man now. We want him to have a star-studded performance every time. Mediocre is not okay. You must deliver. You have to get the title shot. Am I right, AJ, or am I just going on too much about this?
No, you're right, man. Especially when one of the greatest of all time says this dude's better than me. Yeah, you really expect Makhachev to come in and really have the performance of his life each and every time and prove it. It has to be a language barrier, but I just want that man to talk a little bit more smack, and dude, he would be at the top of the division way faster than he is right now.
If he talked like Chimaev, he would be way at the top. You know what I'm saying? And even Chimaev, I'm not going to lie to you, man. Believe it or not, this dude speaks English, and on the UFC embedded, they still have to put subtitles because he slurs all of his words together. You know what I mean? It's hard to really understand what he's saying. But even that attempt of, I'll smash, I am true gangster, you know, that type shit, man, it gets the views, it gets that. But Makhachev, he's a shy guy, man. So they say, that's what Khabib says. He says he's a quiet guy. He doesn't want that, but he'll destroy anybody in his path. So, all right, AJ, that was a little bit long-winded, but let's get into some of these photo collections before we get into some real recap, my man. So first and foremost, my man, this is opening the things up, man. This is at AKA. This is I don't remember which event at AKA it was, but this is a promotion out of Louisiana, and this is a man with just a very crooked nose, man. And I don't really have much to explain aside from that. So give me your take on that one.
Man, he looks like he's got they call the elbow macaroni a reason for it, because your nose catches an elbow, it's gonna look like that macaroni. And this is the one, Derek. This is exactly it. This is Andrei Arlovsky-esque, my man. You got to get that fixed. Hopefully, AKA has the same kind of doctors that UFC's working with. I don't know though.
I don't know about that. I will say, man, every time I look at photos like this, I'm just, so you want to be a fighter, huh? All right, gotcha. AJ, this next fight is going to be coming from the Alan Nascimento versus Tagir Ulanbekov fight, man. And this is just the classic line that we always say you never want, but it happens. Booty in the face, my man. And that's like an inverted triangle attempt right there, man, from not the side that you're normally supposed to get it on. But either way, Ulanbekov, which is actually the fighter in black, ended up surviving, not only surviving, but winning the fight as well. well. But sometimes, man, in jiu-jitsu, you find yourselves in these terrible positions. And what's crazy, AJ, is that you would tell me all the time before about how Diego Sanchez would put people in unfavorable positions and be like, well, there's nothing you can do about it anyways, man. In jiu-jitsu, sometimes that's how it feels, man. Some of these dudes where they can manipulate your body and they could put your face in their booty, and that's it. And you're lucky that's as far as they're going. They're not doing more than that. You feel me? So give me your take on this, AJ.
Yeah, man, unfavorable position. You know, you're breathing in probably the worst breath or the worst air you've ever breathed in, and nothing you can really do about it because that foot is firmly behind that knee and he's squeezing. It's good he got the dub, man, because, yeah, you don't want to take an L like this.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And speaking of jiu-jitsu, man, Amanda Ribas, she pulled off something pretty cool against Virna Jandiroba, man. She tried to do a TP triangle, man, something that you don't see too often, but I thought that was pretty cool, and I wanted to showcase it because when people were looking at it, they're like, what the fuck is going on? But to me, that just, as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, Amanda Ribas is a real deal BJJ expert, man. She's a black belt for real, man. Yeah, beautiful to see, especially against someone else who was so talented at jiu-jitsu like a Virna Jandiroba. Very impressive. I think some other fighters who are lesser skilled at jiu-jitsu definitely would have got tapped out by this. What do you think?
Man, this was so impressive that the commentators didn't even know what to call it.
Yeah.
You had Paul Felder being like, I think I call it a teepee triangle. And he's not even, you know, Paul Felder, he's not even a jiu-jitsu guy. So yeah, this was crazy. Flexibility, strength. Imagine the strength of the inner thighs that you have to squeeze somebody like that and the pressure on the knees. Yeah, man, crazy that Jandiroba survived it.
Well,
top tier right there.
Absolutely. One thing I will say about having that leg position specifically, man, is what I have found is sometimes that's a little more favorable to have your legs like that as opposed to having the traditional, where your ankle is behind the knee. And the reason why is because if your ankle is behind the knee, it'll burn out your quads. But when your legs are bent up like that, you're not working the quads as hard. It's more of a full leg type situation when you're pushing on that, man. So I've had people where I'm basically 3/4 mount. The only thing trapped is my foot. Literally, my foot is caught in between their legs, just like how Amanda Ribas is. It's so tricky to get it out of there, man, just because you can lock down for so long as opposed to the traditional. So just from a technique standpoint, very interesting position right there, man. I really like that. But I said I was going to mention a Khamzat Chimaev stat, and this is what it is right here, man. He has absorbed just one significant strike through 4 UFC fights, man. Unprecedented? I think so. And he's finishing everybody, man. I mean, the leech, dude, a heavy hitter like that, he threw one big right hand, immediately got taken down, and that was the end of the night right there. Like you said, picked up like he was a son, like he was a little kid, and then just ragdolled all over the place. How impressive is that stat, AJ?
Oh, that's some crazy. That's the kind of stats you get in boxing when you're fighting cans all day. Yeah. This dude, arguably not the top tier talent in the UFC, but the top tier fighters in all of the world because they're in the UFC. Crazy stat right there, brother.
Absolutely. Speaking of how these moments need to be immortalized and some don't get the hype that they deserve, man. I just love the photo, man. I always love these walk-off photos, and that's Lerone Murphy after he hit that beautiful knee where Makwan Amirkhani, Mr. Finland, was basically out cold, arms stiff. Scary sight, man. What'd you think? Yeah,
that's the one way you don't want to be, man. Like Makwani, just hands up, stiffed out. But Lerone Murphy, man, Lerone, however you pronounce it, this dude, yeah, that's a crazy photo. That's one he's going to be hanging up. This one's a good one.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, yeah, if I'm him, I'm hanging this thing up for sure. All right, AJ, I don't know how to pronounce this name exactly, but we're gonna give it a shot, man. Vyacheslav Kiselev, right? He's the referee in the Dos Santos versus Saint Denis. Be like, if he dies, he dies. Basically, Mario Yamasaki times 10 on that one, man. Which is interesting. It's interesting that it happened, man. But I just want your take on this quickly, my man. This dude, let me give the quick summary, right? Zaleski Dos Santos, he's putting it on Saint Denis, about 20 plus unanswered strikes. The referee doesn't even seem interested in stopping the fight. We got grabbing the cage. Nah, let's not worry about that, right? Nut shot, I didn't see anything. I don't know what you're talking about, right? But then Dos Santos does hit a nut shot late in the fight, right? Coincidental, accidental, right? Immediately, he takes a point away from Dos Santos. No warning. So it's interesting because you got to sit here and you got to say, like, all right, man, how did you ref? Why is it that you're holding reffing seminars, right? You know, kind of these counseling reffing seminar type situations. Why is any of this happening? And yeah, man, he got pulled from the card, which is not the first time it's happened, but it is pretty notable, man. You get pulled from your card. He had another assignment, was supposed to be the Magomed Ankalaev versus Volkan Ozdemir fight. Give me your take, AJ.
Bro, this is crazy because it's not the first time it's happened, but it's the first time I thought it's ever happened. So it's like the first most notable time. And I mean, when you're being compared to Steve Mazzagatti, you know, that's never the case. You always want to be compared to like the the Herb Deans or anybody else like that. You get compared to
you mean Mario Yamasaki?
Mario Yamasaki, thank you.
Yeah.
Not Steve Mazzagatti. They're both kind of, but more so Mario Yamasaki. Excuse me. Yeah, it's that's a rough one, man. I even had to look at my phone to pull it up. I was at work at this point, you know, signing some papers and whatnot, and my buddy texted me, "That ref don't give a fuck." And I was like, what? Like, I got to watch this fight back. What you talking about? And sure enough, if you got just normal, and my buddy's not a casual UFC fan. He's pretty hardcore like us. But you got people that they're willing to text other people that, yo, this dude don't give a fuck, man. Like, that's some serious, like, crazy situation, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But just know, listen, man, these referees are supposed to be looking out for the safety of the fighter. So to be that blood and guts guy, to be like, I'm going to make you basically suffer multiple concussions, I'm not going to like preserve your health. It's a scary thing, man. You never really want to see that at this high of a level because these dudes are dangerous, man. Especially a killer like Zaleski dos Santos. This dude knocked out Sean Strickland, man. Like, what are we talking about? You know, with like a spinning heel kick too, man. So beautiful. AJ, man, this was the real star of the show. If you will agree with me on this one, man. Hasbulla, you know what I'm saying? No, I'm not even joking. This dude does numbers, bro. Like, I don't know what it is. This is the biggest star in the world right now, it seems. And after the fight, he was about to put hands on one of his little rivals. You know what I'm saying? On Abdul. He was about to put hands on his ass. So give me your take on the new boss, the new star of the show, Hasbulla.
Bro, I don't think it's a gimme. I love these two dudes, bro. I love them so much. Like, the fact that they're willing to swing and get hands on each other, it's the best. He was headbutting Habib. He didn't give a shit, bro. He's down. They got his own little seat. Yeah. And what I like most about both of them, they were there from the beginning of the fights, from the first fight on the prelim until the end. Even when they got in their scrap, bro, and then they went back to their seats to watch, and they were just excited to see some fights going on. Bro, I love it. I love it so much. These are the true fans. Doesn't matter your size, doesn't matter your, skill level. You can always be a fan of this sport, and you can show up when it's time to show up, and even get in a scrap of your own. It's good for you.
Yeah, man. One of the beautiful things about just this sport is that in America, we're so spoiled with so many different major sports, right? You know, we got everything here. We got baseball, we got football, soccer, basketball, everything, But in some places, really all they have is combat sports. And that's why for them, they gravitate towards it so much, man. So I think that's incredible. I really do, man. So shout out to Hasbulla, man, because you're putting even more eyeballs from the casual audience onto. I'm telling you, man, like I could talk about all these great fighters and people would be like, who? But I'll be like, oh, you know Hasbulla? They're like, oh, yeah, I know Hasbulla, right? So it's just like, this dude is literally a household name. All right, AJ, these are just a couple of photos, man. This is from the Duraev versus Kopylov fight, man. And this is one that I said was going to be a banger. Just look at their faces. You don't even really got to comment on it aside from look at their faces there. And this is just another good picture, man. Cut up, bloodied up. It looks beautiful. It's great. It's a bloody, violent mess. You love to see it, man. Just give me your take. Are these some of the best fights? This was actually one of the bloodiest events that we've had in some time, man. That canvas was drenched in blood for quite some time early on in the night, man. What do you think?
Yeah, it's weird to see when the canvas is still white when you get to the main events. Yeah. And bro, this was a scrap right here, blood and guts. You love to see it. Way to put on for the show. This is a good one, man. Both these boys should be very happy with it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's the photo collection, folks. If you like that segment, drop a like, subscribe. Right now, it looks like we're about 225 subscribers deep right now, man. So it feels good. It feels great. We appreciate you guys, but let's keep going, man. Let's keep boosting up those algorithms because this is just a weird thing that YouTube does, man, where they favor some videos. You drop a comment, it boosts them up a little bit. The point here is that, listen, we just said it. I went 5-1. AJ went 4-2. Either way, man, if you're betting on that, that's clearly over 500, man. Damn near 1,000 on the night for me, man. So I was live tweeting. I was doing the whole nine. Come mess with us, man. You know what I'm saying? This is what we do here at the Bloody Water Podcast. And in case you forgot, we fighting for gold, man. So we have incentive. We're not just picking just to pick, man. We actually got something on the line here. So, all right, AJ, let's get into it, my man. Magomed Ankalaev. I said that he was going to be storming through division. I said that he was going to be the future of the light heavyweight division, and I still believe it, and it still reigns true as of today because he gets the unanimous decision win against Volkan Ozdemir. It was a good fight, and I'm not going to lie to you, AJ. I was surprised because I think the over-under was like 2.5 rounds, and I think that we both picked under. I feel like we did, and it went over, so I'm just like, okay, this is a repeat of the Nikita Krylov fight because either Ozdemir is a really tough dude, which is absolutely true, or Ankalaev was maybe feeling a little, wanted to be a little technical, wanted to be a little patient, didn't want to rush things too much, man. What'd you think of the performance? It was a big win over a big name regardless, man, but it wasn't that patented, just like crazy power of Ankalaev that we saw. We saw more hand speed than we saw power. What'd you think?
I think it was a little bit of both of those combined, Derick. I think it was a little bit. Volkan Ozdemir is just hard to put away. This dude is ever dangerous. And Magomed Ankalaev came out really to put on more of a performance than just an absolute domination show. He wanted to show that this dude is really well-rounded, and able to get things done however it can. If this needs to go the distance, it can. I'll be good the entire time. And what we saw, which was crazy to me, man, Ozdemir came out from the jump just throwing heat, man. Flying knee, heat right off the jump, throwing hands like crazy. Ankalaev's chin, it held up. That was the crazy part, man. He had him with some very good shots, and Ankalaev's chin held up. He was able to come back, get some big punches of his own at the end of round one, and then just took over from there, able to get the dominant unanimous decision. And, the rest of it, Ankalaev just stayed active. It was crazy to not see him kind of in that Jan Kutalaba style fight where he's able to pick apart his opponents and really hurt them. But, that just goes to show that Ozdemir has an absolute chin made of granite. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes from this one on. But I think a very bright future for Ankalaev, even though he didn't get the KO finish. Still a very impressive win. What do you think?
Well, sometimes it's what we say, man. We're not getting the knockout win is more impressive because it goes to show that you can do it, man. You can be time-tested. You can go through the flames. You could fight through the adversity. You can go all 3 rounds. We need to start seeing some 5-rounders out of Ankalaev to really see if he's truly legit. But I will say, man, as a minus 340 favorite in this one, this is a pretty easy pick, man. Got the unanimous decision win. It was never truly close. Ozdemir had a couple of moments in the fight, I will say. But overall, you saw it from the beginning. Ankalaev was just too fast, man. I say he has like the speed of a middleweight and the power of a heavyweight at light heavyweight, which is so impressive to me. And unanimous decision win, man. He's 7-fight win streak. He moves to 7-1 in the UFC. I have nothing really more to say, but you just need to watch out, man. This is just one fight closer to the title shot, and I think it's probably going to take another 2 or 3 before he gets there, but I do think he will inevitably get there. Like, do you feel me when I say this, AJ? I know it could sound like I'm just this super fan and I'm just like super hyped on him, which I totally am, but I don't not see this man literally, like, it's the same way that I talk about Tom Aspinall and Chris Dawkins, and we're both like, yeah, those dudes, they're gonna meet at fighting for gold or like on the way up to fighting for gold. They're gonna meet eventually. I think that Ankalaev is just inevitably going to get to that opportunity. Am I right, or what do you think?
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. I agree with you, my man. There was a time where I didn't, where I thought, nah, he's another middle of the pack fighter. My views have completely been flipped. This dude has gold in his path for sure. And I honestly think it's about 2 fights until we see him fight for the championship. It'd be a lot sooner if the top 4 would kind of figure things out up there.
Well, you know what? I agree with you. And the reason why it just clicked to me right now, with Jan not being the champion, basically since John Jones is left of the light heavyweight division, the title is just going to keep changing hands, which goes to show how great of a champion the man was, right? But with that goes more opportunities for more fighters. And what do you know? Glover is the champ now. Who's to say he even defends it, man? What if he retires? You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about that more in a second. But what if he retires and he's like, dude, I'm 42. I wanted to know what it was like to be champion. I'm ready to hang it up. Do you really want to be the champion and then lose the Jan Blachowicz style? You know what I'm saying? You just did that to the man. You don't want that to happen to you. And inevitably, father time, like, it happens, right? So, man, maybe you're right. Maybe 1 or 2 more and Ankalaev gets his shot, man. Shit. I need to put a bet right now. A future's down on anytime championship from my man Ankalaev, man. So shout out to that one, man. This next photo here, AJ, my man, is going to be about Li Jingliang and Khamzat Chimaev right here. Beautiful photo, man. And this is what he does just about every win, man. But to me, this was very eerie because there's another photo that we took at UFC 265, 264, 262. It was the one where Valentina Shevchenko fought on the same card that Rose Namajunas fought on, I think, right? And Shevchenko, she did the like that, you know, where her arms are out like that to the crowd, and it looked like some gladiator type shit. Well, this is what that reminds me of, some gladiator shit. Like Khamzat truly if this was back in the day, he would have been a gladiator fighting in front of crowds, but like killing people, like that type of shit. You know what I mean? Like not any weird disrespectful shit, but just, you know, what fit the time, you know, in those days. What do you think, my man? You know, he's fully embraced the role. He is the heel. He is the gangster. He is whatever you want to call it, man. He is here to smash. One more time, man. Li Jingliang, man, is a dangerous, scary guy, and he offered very little resistance against Chimaev. So just give me the take overall, dog.
Yeah, man, this is a great picture, a great fighter, and it's funny to me. You were saying earlier how it sounds different when Sean Strickland says he's going to be killing people. Like everyone's like, oh, you know, scary. Yeah. But like this dude says it, he's like, I'm going to eat their heart. I'm here for blood. I'm going to murder whoever, whenever. And the crowd erupted. I think it's just a geographical thing, man, because he said kill, and they were like, yeah, they started going crazy. You could see him right there. This reminds me of like almost Rocky, you know, Rocky-esque. He has a hands up on top of the stairs, but instead of the stairs, it's a full fan. Just they're going crazy too. You see a lot of hands up in the picture. I like Khamzat Chimaev, man. And the fact this dude doesn't only just speak his native language and American, you know, English, as far as you can call English American, but he also speaks Chinese, bro. He was translating for Li Jingliang when he was saying stuff. He even told the guy translating, I think you got that wrong, bro. Like,
yeah, he didn't say that, bro.
This dude's smart as fuck, also, and very dangerous. This dude's gonna be a killer coming forward, man.
Yeah, so I think it would be Mandarin specifically is probably what Chimaev is speaking. But I agree with you, man. Very cerebral, and it's a talent, man. Here's the thing that people do oftentimes, right? As Americans, we clown on people that don't speak English well, even though it's not their native language, which is the stupidest thing in the world because, hey, buddy, they speak multiple languages. How many languages do you speak, huh? Like for me, man, I speak Spanglish, kitchen Spanish, and I speak English, man. That's basically what I got here. So like I'm barely scratching the surface. You got the Valentina Shevchenkos who speak 4 different languages and shit fluently. Like, come on, what are we talking about, man? But ultimately, man, this is a huge win. 100% finish rate in his entire career for Khamzat Chimaev. Not just his entire professional career, but also his amateur career. Listen, he moves to 4-0 in the UFC. This minus 575 favorite, and this was easy work. And if you bet on Li Jingliang, then you're probably mad at yourself right now, man, because this was the easy pick. Chimaev. Did we think it would happen so definitively? No. I told you, AJ, I thought he would survive the first round. Couldn't even get out the first round, my man. Dangerous stuff, my man. This was more of an interesting matchup, though. Alexander Volkov, Drago versus Martine Tybura. There was a moment in that fight, AJ, where I'm like, oh, Tybura might pull the upset, dude. Like, Volkov is getting tired. He's putting his foot off of the gas. But he's a patient guy. You know, he got a pretty slow rhythm to his fight style. And this wasn't the best performance from an Alexander Volkov we've seen in quite some time. I thought this was a little lackluster, man. What did you think about this performance right here? Are you expecting more out of Volkov? Is Tybura just that tough of an outing? What are we thinking?
I think even Volkov was expecting a little more out of himself. He came out hot. He came out heated, throwing big shots. But Tybura has a chin, man. And Tybura's game plan, we've seen with the rest of his, I think it was the last 3, who is it? Walt Harris, all the other fighters where he's down to take some cracks to his chin, but he's going to let you get tired. And I think that was his game plan going into this again, where Volkov was literally just throwing heat from the jump, started getting real tired, and then thought to himself, oh no, like I'm going to gas out. I need to slow down. And that's when Tybura was able to start to have his chances. Really good defensive wrestling from Volkov. Both of them really seemed to be a little bit labored going into the second and the third rounds, but Tybura was still snapping the head back of Volkov. It was pretty impressive. Even going into the third, both very tired, but still stayed in kind of that chess match sort of style. Tybura stayed walking forward the entire time. Volkov with the counter shots. It's always crazy to see when the guy that's a lot taller and has the range just continues to stay back and maintain that range instead of go forward and try to maintain it that way. But when you got a bulldog like Tybura coming at you, it's pretty hard, man. It was a good fight either way, though, but they did get pretty tired. What do you think?
Well, I'll say it's one of the more frustrating things about being an Alexander Volkov fan is he doesn't use his reach that well all the time. He falls into that Stefan Struve pattern of being this super tall guy with super long reach, but wants to fight inside, wants to fight close, wants to, like, lets people get in his grill. And, like, that's the thing. You have such these long arms, dude, 80-inch reach. Just stick that jab out there, bro. Like, what are we doing, you know? And that was the thing that was troubling to me because I said it. We found out, I mean, Cyril Gane really exposed exposed it. But if you can keep Volkov on the back foot, he's the least dangerous he can be if he's just sitting there trying to counter strike from the back foot, right? He'll still land some good shots on you. He'll still land some good shots on you coming in. Don't get me wrong. But he's not nearly as effective or as powerful off of that back foot. So I just thought that this was a little lackluster, and I thought that if his goal is to get a title fight, this didn't really do much for you. You know what I mean? It's a win, but you beat a dude who's behind you in the rankings. Decision win that was kind of close, like a 29-28 type decision win. 3-2 in your last 5, moves to 8-3 in the UFC. We need to see the knockouts. We need to go back to the knockouts of Alexander Volkov, the dangerous Drago. We need to see that guy if you want to sit there and be like, I'm going to be fighting for a heavyweight title soon, man, because he's in the mix, but he's in that limbo spot, kind of. You know what I mean? It's a little weird, but all right, man, move on to the next one. We already talked about this one a little bit, man, but Islam Makhachev, there's not really much to talk about. This dude took Dan Hooker down, snatched his arm, and Kimura'd him. And Dan Hooker looked like he was in a lot of pain and agony. And I actually had a really good photo, but I guess I didn't bring it up. But it's of Dan Hooker screaming, you know what I mean? Like wincing crazy as his arm is getting yanked. And, you know, that rotator cuff is just starting to slowly but surely tear a little bit. And what's crazy to me is that when the referee, because I don't think Dan Hooker tapped, man. I think that he was just like screaming like, oh, fuck, you know. And the referee was all like, all right, stop it, get it out. And then Dan Hooker looked at the ref like, bro, what's up? And he's like, bro, I'm trying to save your arm from getting detached from your body, bro. Like, Islam Makhachev was about to go home with that arm. So what is the wise words of one of our OGs, man, Paul Craig, right? He says either you tap, you nap, or it snaps. And luckily for Dan Hooker, the referee saved his arm from snapping the fuck off of his body, man. So do you think there was any path to victory once you actually saw them in the cage together for like Dan Hooker, aside from a knee up the pipe when Makhachev was shooting in? Was there any path to victory?
Maybe stuffing the head to the mat on that double leg, but Makhachev was so smart about it, man. Literally, like, he wasn't falling for any of the feints Dan Hooker was putting out there. Dan, for the first like 30 seconds or so, was literally staying moving, staying good, looking good until he committed for that first punch. Makhachev just ducked right underneath and saw that Dan Hooker put his weight down on his feet. He was able to get the thing, and yeah, man, really basically almost zero resistance on that takedown, and so smooth in the transition. I heard Khabib shouting, submission, submission. And that's when he literally like, oh, okay. And then just stepped over the head, started yanking on that arm. And if the ref wasn't in there, we would have seen some gladiator shit and that arm would have gone home with him, because Dan Hooker wasn't going to tap at all. I don't even think he had his arm in a position to tap, because I know when it started, he put his left arm on his right and tried to like scoot them both down so he could get out of the submission. And both of them being trapped underneath you, all you can basically do is scream for help. And thankfully, the ref was there to answer that scream, because, yeah, man, Makhachev just looked absolutely levels above. Dominant on the ground game, no smash this time. It's all about the tap. And either way, man, he would have got it done. So very impressive win.
I'll tell you, man, it's a dangerous game even in the gym doing jiu-jitsu, man. Sometimes you get crucifix and the other arm is getting yanked on, and then all you can do is scream tap. You have no other choice, and just hope they have mercy on you, because your arms are in no position to be tapping, you know what I mean? Or the dangerous thing that Makhachev and Chimaev both do, man, is when they put you in that Dagestani handcuff and then start yanking on the other arm, they have control of both arms. So you just sitting there like, please stop. Like, dude, come on. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, man, this was a masterclass win by Islam Makhachev. There's really not much to say about it aside from shout out to Dan Hooker for taking and stepping up to the challenge. You know, he definitely gets gangster points, cool points, brownie points, whatever you want to call it for that. But it does nothing for your record. And in all honesty, probably shouldn't have taken the fight, to be honest. You know what I mean? We love the bravado and the you know, machismo of it. But let's be honest, AJ, if you think he could have did this all over again, do you think he would have took this fight?
Probably not. It really does hurt your stock. Like, he might have, don't get me wrong, he might have. But at least if you're thinking forward trajectory, at least his manager's probably saying, bro, don't take this fight. I know there's a lot of people in the top 5 that are going to be saying, I'm not taking that fight.
Word is that he got a nice little paycheck, though, man, because he did post a little tweet. And what's the dude, man, from... oh, man, I'm seeing his face. Is Woodley Harrison. Does that sound familiar? Maybe I'm butchering the name. Woodley Harrison? Harrison Woodley? No?
Oh, Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson. There we go. Apologies, folks. Like, you know what I'm talking about. What's the movie, man? Zombieland? Is that what I'm thinking of?
Zombieland. He's in a lot. Yeah.
Where he was wiping his tears with dollars, right? $100 bills or whatever. I think that's Zombieland, right? So he posted a GIF of that on Twitter. So I think that you got to love it, man, because he doesn't take himself too serious, man. I absolutely love that about good old Hangman. You know what I'm saying? But big win for Islam Makhachev, man. We've already talked about it in depth earlier on the show. The man is going to be doing big things, clearly in line for a title shot here. And then I guess last question for you before we move on, AJ. And maybe I could have talked about this in matchmaking, but how many more fights before a title shot, dog, in the lightweight division? One? You know, does he get one more good win, then fights the winner of Oliveira Poirier? Or does McGregor somehow mysteriously fit himself back into the mix?
Man, I love McGregor, but if he gets the fight, the UFC is rigged. I think it's at least one more and then the shot. It's weird because if we'll get into the matchmaking a little bit about it later, but I think it's one more fight and then the title because we the same thing with him and Chimaev, man. We can't put him in there with anybody else that's lower than top 5 or else it's just sending a lamb to slaughter. So it's going to be interesting to see where he goes from now.
All right, man. So we'll keep an eye on that situation, man. Listen, thing of beauty right here. This came from a 1-2 combo into a spinning hook kick. You know what I mean? Whatever you want to call it. The striking in this match. AJ, let me just say this before I even try to put any words into this, man. This fight was the main event for me personally. And I think that we were lucky because this was one of the best striking showcases that I have seen between two competitors going back and forth, mano y mano. Yes, did Yan pull away towards the end? He did, but the striking was still very competitive rounds 1 through 5, man. So I have to say, bravo to these gentlemen, man. Petr Yan, Cory Sandhagen, you guys are some of the best to ever lace them up in that octagon, and especially with that striking showcase. It was a thing of beauty to behold. But this spinning hook kick, whatever you want to call it, was beautiful. And what's crazy is that it looks bad in the photo. So if you're watching, folks, it's just a photo of Petr Yan hitting that and Cory Sandhagen's face like all muffled and like, you know, he just got hit with a shot. But he immediately, right after this, put his hands out like that was nothing and then threw a flying knee and tried to hit Yan. There's like the last seconds of the fight, man. So Sandhagen took it on the chin, says, you ain't got nothing for me, man. Yes, did he wilt a little bit towards the end, but not as much as any of the other opponents Yan has faced, man. Give me your take on that photo, AJ.
Yeah, bro, this is a crazy photo. We've seen a couple where timing, distance, accuracy all kind of line up. And this one, if Cory Sandhagen wasn't as good of a distance manager and a distance counter striker as he was, Yan would have hit him clearly with the heel on the chin instead of just the toes on the chin. And it would have been a night for Cory Sandhagen, man. That's why I made him my fighter of the night. This like that you're able to not get clapped with a spinning round, you know, what should have been a heel kick, but ended up just being a hook kick to the chin. Yeah, bro, very impressive. And for Yan, I mean, the fact that you're able to do that on a guy who's taller than you, who has a range on you, and you're still able to hit that strike, bro, this dude is crazy good.
Absolutely, man. And listen, AJ, I want a quick question from you because it looks like he's happy. He's with the family. He's smiling. Do you think he should have maybe on the inside he was feeling like Dustin Poirier or maybe Justin Gaethje? I don't remember which one. I think it was Justin Gaethje where they just threw the belt on the ground. They're like, yeah, no, I'll wait till the real one. You know.
I think Yan Petr Yan, they're a little bit more not respectful in the terms I'm trying to use it, but a little bit more like respectful is the only word that comes to mind, where he's not going to disrespect the belt by throwing it on there. He knows what it is. He knows that he's a real champ, and he's just kind of a little more honored to hold it than Justin Gaethje, where he's like, fuck this, you know. They have a little bit less of that. More pride, I guess, is a better word for it.
Let me ask you, though, man. You were in this situation. You know, you never really lost the belt. You didn't lose it. You know what I mean? Yeah, you did some shit in a fight that you were winning to then relinquish the belt, but you didn't lose it. You didn't get your ass beat or anything like that. Do you, if you spoke English, I'm just imagining you're Petr Yan, right? If you spoke good English, because that's really the big problem with him is he can't communicate to the fans like that. Do you cut the sickest promo we've ever seen, throw the belt on the ground, say, fuck that, Aljo, I'll see you soon to reclaim my fucking belt, bro. Like, fuck this little, you know, interim, whatever. I don't need this nonsense, man. I'm coming for the real thing. Aljo, I'm going to beat your ass. What's up? You know, like, if that was you, is that what you were saying? Are you cutting a promo? Not even personal to Aljo, but just whoever the champion was at that time. Are you doing that, or are you doing the respectful, yeah, you know, I mean, he said it after the fight. He says, I'm emotionally empty on this one. This doesn't do much for me. You know what I mean? What did you take?
Man, I cut the promo, brother. I play heel on this one. I give this one, since my son's right next to me, I take the belt off, put it around him, and say, this one's for him. I'm taking the next belt from my other son out there.
Oh,
Aljo, you better be ready, brother.
Okay. All right. I like that, man. See, listen, man, you're going to have to start hitting up some of these fighters, giving them the marketing strategy, bro, because that's what they need, man. Do a little something like that. Yeah, give us a call, man. Give my brother a call because, listen, man, all of that to say, man, is Petr Yan is now the interim bantamweight champion. He will fight Aljamain Sterling to unify the belt, and it's a rematch that not many people want to see, to be honest, man, because the first one was very one-sided, very conclusive, and if not for that knee, he was cruising to, if not a unanimous decision victory, it would have been a TKO in the late rounds, man, because Petr Yan's cardio is insane. He's ridiculous, but I want to take this time, AJ, because we know how good Petr Yan is. We know his striking is next level. We know that the man is truly the champion. We've talked about him like he was the champion. He is the people's champion still. But I want to take a second to revisit that topic we were talking about earlier, AJ, about Cory Sandhagen. And I want to talk about this, man. First and foremost, he said he'll be back. You said you feel that he'll be back. I feel that he'll be back. But I want to talk about the murderer's row he's had to fight in order to get to the position that he's at now. He's had a harder strength of schedule than Petr Yan has, by far. And in his last 6 fights, I'll just talk about last 5 instead of last 6 to make it easy. Aljamain Sterling, current champion in the bantamweight division. Marlon Moraes, multiple regional bantamweight champion, top contender in the bantamweight division for basically as long as he's been in the division. Frankie Edgar, former champion, right? TJ Dillashaw, multiple-time former champion. Petr Yan, former/current champion, right? These are all in his last 5, and he went 2-3 in that span. Arguably 3-2 because, right, we think he beat TJ Dillashaw, but that's neither here nor there. First off, is he like the Joe Frazier of his era right now? You know what I'm saying? Where Joe Frazier is one of the best to lace him up, bro. We know this. There's no disrespect on that man's name whatsoever. But we also know if not for Muhammad Ali, he probably would have been reigning supreme. Well, aside from George Foreman, but we'll not talk about that, you know. But he was a big figure in that division, right? In the heavyweight division back then. But you got that person, right? Just like, for an example, Isaiah Thomas in basketball for the Pistons, right? He was trying to get his dubs. He couldn't get the dubs because the Pistons couldn't beat the Lakers or something like that. Magic Johnson, I don't know. That's 90s basketball references for you. The point remains, AJ, do you think Cory Sandhagen, I know you said he'd already be a champion if it wasn't for Petr Yan, but do you think that he is that level of greatness? Look at the people he's fought, man. What are we talking about?
Yeah, man, he has to be that level of greatness for him. And to be honest, what frustrated me most about this fight going forward is Cory Sandhagen comes back. I forgot what round it is. It was 2, 3, 4, somewhere in there. I think it was actually going into the 4th round after the 3rd. Sandhagen comes back to his coaches and asks, all right, what do I have to do? And his coach said, 5 more minutes, that's all. Like, bro, that's not I know there's 5 more minutes, man. What the fuck? Like, what? Yeah. Give me some advice. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it for myself. Give me something. So that right there was, I think, the only thing that's holding Cory Sandhagen back is having that outside perspective of an actual, somebody like I don't even know who Cory Sandhagen's coaches are, but, you know, going to like a top tier organization for his coaches. And if not for that one thing, I think he would be, you know, one of the greatest, but I do think he's right there, right on that top tier, upper echelon of the fighters. Do you know who his coaches are?
Yeah, man, he fights at Elevation Fight Team out there in Colorado. So Trevor Whitman is over there, but Trevor Whitman's not his coach.
Yeah, he's not part of Elevation.
No, he's got his own thing, but he kind of works in tandem with Elevation right there. Because that's where, I mean, Rose and Gaethje and Usman, they all train over there, right? I don't know exactly who his specific coach is, but I do know it's in that stable of Elevation Fight Team, which is a very, very respected gym and organization. So I don't necessarily think that the coaching per se with the people, I think the people around him kind of know his fight style and know that, like, you don't really got to give the X's and O's like that, even though he was asking these questions. But if you saw it in the fight, man, you saw that Petr Yan, the difference was he was able to make reads, man. And the more reads that he made, the more that you saw he was adjusting to Sandhagen. So the little hand fighting that Sandhagen was doing wasn't working as well. The movement wasn't working as well. Petr Yan started extending his shots a little bit more because he noticed, oh, Cory Sandhagen keeps moving backwards instead of side to side. So if I just overextend a little bit, I'm going to hit him there, right? I'm going to double up on this. I think it was some of that stuff, man. I think Cory Sandhagen truly, even though I agree with your point, there's something missing, you know what I mean? but I think it's part of the experience. And I think that experience is what he was missing. And now he's had the tough test against TJ, Aljamain, and Petr Yan. Literally 3 champions right there, AJ. I think this is probably, and it's going to suck to say, the best thing that's ever happened in his entire career in terms of learning curve and becoming a different animal, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. And that kind of goes more to my point of the fact that if Petr Yan was so experienced and able to make the reads in time, and Cory Sandhagen wasn't, and he was depending on somebody else, this is a better lesson for him to learn. Yo, I need to do it on my own, man. They told me I got 5 more minutes. I know that. Give me something else. Now he has to learn that he has to do it himself. And I think, honestly, man, Cory, it seemed like they had kind of a mutual respect enough for each other that if the language barrier wasn't there, I think they'd be able to work together and get Cory Sandhagen better, man, because the reads that Yan was able to do mid-fight were so impressive that if Cory Sandhagen would do that, yeah, man, he'd be top of the heap.
Well, I will say one thing that was concerning to me early, because I picked Yan, so I'm hoping Yan wins. Obviously, I was rooting for Sandhagen, but it seemed like Yan respected Sandhagen too much early on, right? Like, he kept trying to touch gloves with him. He kept trying to be nice and all that. And I was like, yo, because Cory Sandhagen looked locked in. Like, he was like, fuck all that. Like, we're not doing that shit. Like, I'll touch gloves, just because you put it out there and I'm not a dick, but I'm not trying to be all friendly. But that's the thing. It still ended up working out for Yan, so it goes to show just how much of a competitor supreme the man is. Shout out Dan Gable. But big win for Petr Yan, man. We already know this. It's a beautiful thing to see. It's a sight to see. Behold it. But let's talk about the light heavyweight unified championship right here, man. First off, look at this choke, my man. I mean, locked in. And I'm not going to try to put any dirt on anybody's name. I don't want to disrespect anybody, especially I don't want to disrespect the legendary Polish power of Jan Blachowicz. But I was surprised to see the man tap. I thought that for all that you've worked for the mountain you've had to climb to get to where you are, you're going to sleep before you're tapping out to lose that belt. He tapped. And that's something you have to deal with on your own. You know what I mean? And I don't want to get too philosophical here, but there is something about that where you will be asleep at night and you will be questioning and wondering, why did I tap? Did I need to? I could have held out a little bit longer. I should have just went to sleep. I should have did anything I could to try to see if I could just fight the hand. Like, he got the hands. Like, maybe he could have pulled down a little bit, got that little bit of oxygen. But these things happen, and sometimes it happens so fast that you don't have any excuse, and you just have to deal with the consequence that you tapped. And like I said, I'm leaving these dramatic silences here, folks, because that's how you need to think about these things. You tapped. Enough said. With that being said, though, 42 years old, man. He is now the light heavyweight champion, Glover Teixeira. And AJ, I wanted to share this tweet that Glover Teixeira, he put out actually this morning, 6:35 in the morning. He says, I always wondered what it would be like to be a champion and how I would feel the day after the fight. Now I know, and it feels pretty damn good. Thank you to everyone for the love, support, tweets. Love you all, man. So this dude is living the dream right now, man. And maybe he knew something that we didn't know when he was asked, are you going to be able to get Blachowicz to the ground? He says, oh yeah, I will. Whether I take him down or whether it's going to be this left hook, he's going down. Well, he did both. He took him down normally, and he dropped him with the left hook. Or he stumbled him with the left hook and then was able to get him down. But this was a clinic by Glover Teixeira, man. This is something that he has done to a majority of his opponents in the last 5 of his fights. And the other thing I wanted to point out, AJ, is I wanted to know if you knew this, my man. If you look at Glover Teixeira's record, my man, it's pretty damn impressive. His only losses in the UFC. Are you ready for this, AJ? His only losses in the UFC in his entire career, right, where he has gone pretty impressive career. John Jones, right, Phil Davis, Rumble Johnson, Alexander Gustafsson, and that's the fight that I was talking about on the pre-show where Gustafsson uppercutted Teixeira into oblivion right there, and Corey Anderson. Those are the only losses in his entire career, or entire UFC career. Is that not incredible?
Bro, that's a hit list of like murderers out there that have been top of the division, or at least in the media's eyes, some serious killers out there.
And then in this last winning streak up to winning the title, Carl Roberson, Jan Kutalaba, Nikita Krylov, Anthony Smith, Thiago Santos, Jan Blachowicz. Fucking ridiculous, dude. This dude's life is going to be a movie. You have to make a movie about this man's career, right?
This dude's doing it not only in eras past, but in current eras as well.
Yeah.
Those two different lists that you just said, you could have picked any time frame, and one of those dudes would have been on the top of the division or fighting for the championship. It's crazy.
It's absolutely ridiculous, man. But it goes to show that, listen, man, it's exactly what he said. And I love the promo he spit after, where he was just like, never give up on your dreams, man. Keep going, keep fighting. Don't let people discourage you. Don't let people try to, tell you can't achieve whatever you want to achieve in life, man. I love that message so much. It literally makes me emotional thinking about it, because that's something that's so hard to do, man. Follow your dreams when nobody supports you, when you don't have external validation. But you don't do it for the external validation. You do it for the moments like this, where you're 42 years old. Everybody's counting you out. You're a plus 230 underdog, and you finish the champion in a method where he has not been finished in quite some time. Not this way, you know what I'm saying? So, huge win, 6-fight win streak for Glover Teixeira, 5 finishes in that span. He moves to 16-5 in the UFC, and like I said before, he is the second oldest UFC champion of all time. AJ, we need to ask the question. I keep pondering it, and this was a performance of the night bonus. Let me just mention that. This was a performance of the night. Chimaev, he won performance of the night, and fight of the night was Petr Yan versus Cory Sandhagen. But with this performance of the night bonus, do you, if you're Glover, man, let's just walk through it quickly, because we got to kind of move on here, but do you just ride into the limelight, man? Just go right into the sunset, bro. You won performance of the night. You got an extra $50K. You're the champion. You did it. You woke up. You feel great, but you're still 42 damn years old. Unless you're Andrei Arlovsky type, you know what I'm saying, and you keep thinking you're going to do something. Arlovsky has the motivation of, I want to be the champion. Well, you did it, pal. You achieved your goal. What's left? Just dip. That's it. I want to see this storybook ending. I don't want to see you end up unconscious on the ground at 45 years old because you decided to keep sticking around, even though you made it to the top. Give me your take, AJ.
Yeah, man, it's hard. I forget if it's GSP or somebody else that said it. A lot of the books I read have always said the same thing too. Set your goals as high as possible, because the worst thing than failing and not achieving your goal is setting a goal too small and achieving it too fast, and then not knowing when to quit. And I think that might be the thing for Blachowicz, man. It's so hard to quit on top, because this is a 6-5 win streak. Like he can know in his mind that he can keep going. And what's better than one title win? Well, a title defense. And what's better than the next title defense? A second, third, fourth, fifth, going forward until you get that L, and then you really got to compose yourself and really think about it. Yeah. It's hard, man, because then you quit when you're ahead in Vegas, yes, but you always, when you're walking back to the room, you're always thinking, well, I was on a hot streak. Could I win a little more? Could I win a little more? It's easy to quit when the chips are down. It's hard to quit whenever you're winning and going up. Me personally, 42 years old, I would hope to God I had the presence of mind to leave at the top, but I don't know, man. I've never proven to be that smart, so it's a hard one to go. What do you think?
I'll just say we learned a great lesson from Khabib, man. Obviously, the circumstances were different, but for him to leave at 29-0 when 30-0 was right there, all the money fights, all this stuff was right there, and he was like, I'm cool, bro. It's all good. He's now forever immortalized as Khabib. He is that guy. And now Coach Khabib, which we never even talked about, this dude is killing it as a coach, man. I think he's still undefeated on the year as a coach. Fucking ridiculous. But the point is you just don't want to outlive that moment. You know what I mean? Remember this. Take it all in. But I just want to see the man go out on top. I'm not saying retire because you're old. Clearly, this dude is marking everybody in his path. It doesn't matter. But this does definitely make the light heavyweight division very interesting, because Yuri Prochazka is clearly going to be the next person for Teixeira. Like, Blachowicz isn't getting a rematch after getting finished so handedly like this. So if you're fighting Yuri Prochazka, I mean, that's a dangerous fight. Could he take Yuri down and do the same thing that he did to Blachowicz? Yeah, he probably could. But that's a much more dangerous fight, in my opinion, because Yuri is so unpredictable and all of that good stuff. But that's neither here nor there, and we'll talk matchmaking literally in just a few seconds, because that's it for the main card, folks, man. This is huge for Glover, man. This is... and new, man. What can we say? And new. It's fucking ridiculous. It's hard to even process this stuff, man. But all right, AJ, let's hit some matchmaking, big dog. Drop a like, subscribe if you're still with us here, folks, man. We appreciate you guys. And now we need to go and do some predictions for who's about to be fighting who next. So let's start off with the light heavyweight division. At the bottom, though, Magomed Ankalaev. He goes from number 7. Think we could boost him up a spot to number 6 maybe. And listen, man, I think that at this point he only has really 2 options here, and the one that makes the most sense to me, Lionheart, Anthony Smith at number 4, man. 36-16, 3-fight win streak, longest win streak of anybody in that like 3 to 6 range, and who will officially be a top 5 name for Ankalaev. So I think that makes a lot of sense. What do you think?
I had Anthony Smith as well. I think the shakeup of those other top 4 fighters is going to be interesting to see how it goes. Rakic is still there. It's interesting to see where he's going to go. But I do think the big fight there is for Anthony Smith for Ankalaev going forward.
I agree. I also had Thiago Santos, but I was like, that's more of just a name, and I don't really think it does much for you. But a name is a name, and sometimes that's what it takes, man. Because, you know, sometimes the UFC gets really weird with it, and, you know, all that, man. But, all right, Khamzat Chimaev. We already talked about this earlier. We had the whole discussion. He's going somewhere between 11 and 6 or whatever, you know, somewhere in there, right? But the question then becomes, who does he fight, man? And I got 2 names, and both of these names are big names that probably wouldn't want to fight him. But one dude has already said, what's up, let's boogie, let's do it. And that man is Neil Magny. Did you have that name down, AJ?
No, I didn't, man. I'm going a little higher than that, to be honest with you.
Oh, who are you going with?
Man, I'm thinking I have 2 as well because I don't know, we need to get somebody who's very proficient on the ground as well, very dangerous in the hands. I went Vicente Luque or Gilbert Burns. Very high up there. I think the Gilbert Burns is obviously the harder fight, but Luque is also very much a killer going forward.
I don't think Luque would fight Khamzat, man, because he's trying to fight for a title. So I don't think that one would necessarily work. What about a Michael Chiesa? What about that one?
I think so. I mean that is a lot more in line. I don't think it's a high enough jump, but I mean Michael Chiesa is a very game killer.
Yeah.
I just think in the eyes of the media, he's not as much of a savage as going forward. I think he is. I think it'd be a hard fight, but
I get what you mean in terms of name recognition. The reason why I bring up Chiesa is just because he's considered one of the biggest grinders in the division, right? He's one of the best wrestlers. I mean, before he lost this last fight to Neil Magny, right? There was unquestionable, you know, there's no question in anyone's mind that he'll get you to the ground and he'll just grind you out right there, man. And that's basically what Chimaev does, except he finishes you. But then again, for Chiesa, he fights Sean Brady on November 20th. So I was going to say, regardless of the win or loss, he should fight Chiesa. You know what I mean? Because I think that'd be a good name right there. And here's the thing. With Khamzat, you got to think about it. We're going to go what? Unranked to number 10, let's just say, to number 2. And then to champion, like, come on, we got to do baby steps, right? Number 6, number 4, number 2, 1, you know, do it like that. Because if you high roll him too fast, well, I mean, shit, man. So you get him the championship. Now he's fighting once every year. And come on, like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like you still want to make money with the guy, right?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. But also at the point, do you not want to have him go right to the top? And then if you build him up baby steps, then you run into the same situation that Kamaru Usman's doing, where he's already wiped out the division on his way to the title shot. He's only had 3 title defenses, and now he's not able to have any other prospective matches. Where at least with this way, if we steamroll him to the top, then it's like, oh, these dudes who have been killing people now, like they actually have the time to get it back on him. Yeah. I don't know. 2 schools of thought on that one.
No, absolutely. I guess the last school of thought to have on there is what happens if Chimaev gets to the belt and then loses. Then you right back in the fucking line. So it's like, all right, well, you shouldn't have jumped his ass up so fast because now you have to work all the way back up, you know? So it's just interesting. It's hard. He is an enigma of the division right now. But all right, man. Heavyweight division, Alexander Volkov. No change, really, because he can't get into that top 4. That top 4 is locked up. Number 5, and I think that's where he belongs to be at, especially because this was a kind of underwhelming win. I say you either rematch Curtis Blades, right? Because, I mean, that's a fight that he definitely wants back. Or the winner of Derek Lewis versus Chris Daukaus on December 18th. You know, both of them would be rematches. He lost both of them. Depending Chris Daukaus, if he somehow, not somehow. Let me take that back. If he beats Derek Lewis, which could happen because he's the Daukaus brother, man, and these guys are no joke. If he gets the dub, that'd be interesting. But either Curtis Blades or Derek Lewis, man, those would be 2 big rematches for fighters who are basically in that limbo of that top 5 division. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's either rematches or stars on the come up. But me personally, I had Blades or your boy Tom Aspinall. I think that would be a very interesting fight to see how Aspinall gets it done. Yeah. I do think he needs to fight higher, but it looks like nobody wants to fight him, so might as well go Volkov. Well, it's a hard one to see. What do you think?
Remember what you said, man. You're saying if he loses maybe 1 or 2 more, then he has to fight the young gun. So I thought that win that Volkov just got kept him out of that discussion of having to fight the young up-and-comers, right? Because it's like, well, if you're still winning, all right, cool. But if you drop a loss, okay, now we'll give you the Aspinalls. Now we'll give you the number 15s, 14s, that type of stuff, right? But I still think that, man, a couple good wins, he could be up there for a title shot, man. I think that Volkov has the potential still. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. Do I think he deserves to fight the stars? No, but I think with that win / non-dominant win, unanimous decision, he solidified himself in that top 5 and below fighter status, personally.
I just think if you look at the people he's lost to, it tells a different story, right? He lost to who? Curtis Blades. He lost to Derek Lewis and Cyril Gane. Is that deserve to make you fight fucking young guys? Not really, if you think about it, right? Because this is very stiff competition, but that's neither here nor there. All right, man. Islam Makhachev, number 5. He can move up to number 4 in the lightweight division because Hooker was number 6. I say you give him to Benny Dariush, man. I say this is the fight that makes sense right here, even though it's not good for Benny because he's supposed to be fighting for a title already. But it makes the most sense because Dariush is a wicked Muay Thai fighter. He has incredible jiu-jitsu. We saw his fight against Diego Fajeda, man. We saw how that one went out, man. It was just a beautiful thing to watch, and I think that it would be much more competitive against Makhachev than against anybody else Makhachev could go up against. Who do you think?
Yeah, I had Benny as well, or the winner of Gaethje and Chandler. I think either one of any of those fights would be interesting to see. I don't want to see Makhachev wait though. That's the problem. I don't want to see him just put on the sidelines and get forgot about for waiting for a title shot or waiting for anything else. Like Dana says, you can't be doing that stuff. You need to fight when the phone rings. And man, that's a hard fight for Benny. That's a hard fight for Benny. I don't know if I'm ever going to pick against Makhachev until he loses. But if he fights Benny Dariush, I almost might have to. That's my boy. So yeah, that's a hard fight.
Well, that's what I was going to say. If there's anybody that I would pick against Makhachev with, it would be Benny Dariush, man, because he defies the odds time and time again. Yeah, that'd be a really fun one, man. All right, Petr Yan, we already know. Aljo Sterling, that's the fight to make. Glover Teixeira, retirement, rematch with Yan. Yan doesn't deserve a rematch, right?
I don't think he does, but it's probably in the contract. It's although we saw what happened with Stipe. It might be in the contract, but that don't matter whenever the UFC wants to do what they want to do. I had it as Teixeira Blachowicz too. Do I think he deserves it? No, it's just a weird mix-up for that top 5. Maybe he fights Rakic. Maybe he fights Yuri. I think Yuri's an interesting matchup going forward. What do you think?
I think he fights Yuri. I think that, listen, man, now looking back, hindsight, that title defense against Israel Adesanya is like the worst thing that could have happened for him. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, you get the win. So you go down in history as a light heavyweight whose only title defense was against a middleweight. That's it. And then you lose to an actual light heavyweight. It's just not a good look, man. I feel bad for Blachowicz because he's such a nice guy, seemingly enough. But, yeah, man, we'll see what happens there. That's the matchmaking, folks. That's the matchmaking. It's tough when you're dealing with the champions on the top of the division, man. There's really not too much creativity you could have there, but that's neither here nor there. Let's move into the news wire, AJ. I just got a couple of things before we get out of here, man. This is a quote from Dana White. Joanna Jedrzejczyk ate a lot of the cake here at the UFC when she was a champ. Dana White responds to Jedrzejczyk's terms for a return. Basically, she's saying she wants more money, man. Is what it comes down to. She wants equity. She says, listen, I put a lot into this sport. She helped build what the UFC is, which to a degree it's true. Very prolific strawweight champion. But then again, AJ, one thing that we do know about mixed martial arts, the UFC specifically, is that the lower weights, they don't really sell that much, man. Now it's starting to become different. 135, right? That's a real heavy hitter, you know what I mean? But they were close to getting rid of the men's 125-pound division. The women's 125-pound division didn't even exist until a couple of years ago. Joanna Jedrzejczyk is one of my favorite fighters, man, but I can't sit here and tell you that I can just bring her name up at a random party and people would be like, oh, yeah, I know who she is. You know what I'm saying? So what do you think about this, man? Joanna's no longer in the rankings because she's been inactive for about 2 years. And she says basically if she fights again, she wants to be fighting for a title. So what do you think about this situation?
I think it's a little bit of Joanna yet resting on her laurels. Don't get me wrong. I love Joanna Champion. Like JJ is an amazing fighter. It's just 2 years off. What have we seen, where we've seen other fighters fight 7 times in a year. You haven't fought in 2 years and you're out here making demands and making, statements like that. It almost puts a sour taste in your mouth of like, you sound like a kid crying over something that you haven't done in a while. And don't get me wrong, I love Joanna Champion. Like I said, man, it's hard to see because I do think, one, for the level that she's at, and I don't know what her pay scale is, but she probably does need to get paid more. But 2, have you earned that pay in the last 2 years? I don't know. It's hard.
Well, coming off of a split decision loss, right, to Zhang Wei Li, where her head turned into a balloon with that hematoma. But listen, you can't argue what she's done for the sport, what she's done for the division. Her fights with Rose, man, built up Rose to be incredible, right? Without those wins over Joanna Jedrzejczyk, Rose wouldn't be where she is today. But it's just an interesting situation. I would love to see her fight again, man. She's one of my favorite fighters to watch. But all right, man, Jake Paul. Last thing I got, Jake Paul, and you hate to bring him up, man, but you know that whole tattoo situation with Tyron Woodley, right? And he was like, "I'll get the tattoo if you give me a rematch." Well, I don't know if that's going to be happening, man, because Tyron Woodley is rumored to be boxing Dan Hardy upcoming here, man. That's going to be interesting. But instead, Jake Paul should be fighting Tommy Fury on December 18th, which is the same night that Derek Lewis versus Chris Daukaus fight is taking place, which is kind of interesting, man. But nonetheless, man, Tommy Fury, he's 7-0. He's the younger brother of Tyson Fury, and he did not look good in his last matchup, which I do believe was an actual professional bout. And it was against this dude who's a former MMA fighter, man. And let's just say, big mismatch. And the dude won, and he shouldn't have won. Well, like, he won. I don't even want to comment on the fucking situation. How about this, man? It was an ugly performance, man. He doesn't deserve this fight against Jake Paul, in my opinion, but nonetheless, it's a fight, I guess, right? My question to you, AJ, is for Tyron Woodley. He's probably the loser of this whole situation, man. I don't even know if the tattoo was real, because it was like partly real, part in pen. It was weird, man. But the point remains here, man, is at what point does this Jake Paul show, the train, run dry, man? Like, at what point do people stop embarrassing themselves for a little bit of a paycheck? It just makes the sport look embarrassing. It makes boxing look ridiculous, a clown show. And it just, I don't know, man. These aren't the fights that people need to be tuning into. It takes the limelight off of the prelim fighters for the UFC or for all these other MMA organizations where they should be getting a little bit of love, but they can't because, oh, did you watch a Jake Paul fight? Give me your take, man.
I love the way you phrase that, Derek. When will people stop embarrassing themselves or like belittling themselves over fighting this clown just for a little bit of cash? Yeah, man, it's hard, especially when in the boxing, you're not getting paid that much unless you're the top dog, but I can go get a paycheck fighting this clown. And I think it'll stop once Jake Paul gets KO'd first round. Once he actually starts fighting a legitimate fighter, I think the talk might not stop. But for us hardcore fans, we gotta put our foot down and be like, I ain't watching this clown no more. Man. Sure enough, I'm not paying any damn money. I haven't paid once for a single Jake Paul fight. Don't listen to Uncle Dana, but I still watched them. They got that I'm not even gonna say it online, but all right, we out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's man. Yeah, I hate to see it personally. I hate to see it, man. There's a lot of other really talented fighters out there that deserve the limelight, and we're doing it to some scrub out here who's just, don't get me wrong, he's putting in the effort, so I respect the fact, and he's building himself up, but yeah, I don't like it.
Let's just end on this one, man. What do you think? Who are you giving the edge to? Tyron Woodley versus Dan Hardy in a boxing match, man. Who are you giving the edge to?
Dan Hardy. I mean, we've seen Tyron Woodley's hands be non-existent, and if you weren't able to put out a Jake Paul who you had on the ropes and you weren't able to push that gas pedal, yeah, I think Dan Hardy's going to make you look like a full slipping and striking.
We'll see what happens, man. We'll definitely see what happens. And I love the banter between the two because Dan Hardy, he could be corny sometimes, man. He says Tyron, he's not Tyron Woodley, he's Tyron Wouldn'tly. And I was like, wow, you're a funny guy, clever guy. How about that? I don't know how many laughs that one gets at improv night, AJ, but listen, or at open mic, I guess I should say, man. But listen, AJ, that's the news wire, my man. Kind of dry this week, but hey, man, next week, look at that poster. A little preview for what the poster score is going to be, but not looking too good. I'll just say that. UFC 268, man. It's coming up. Usman versus Covington 2. Nami Yunus versus Zhang 2. Gaethje versus Chandler. Bangers on bangers on bangers. Back-to-back spoiled weeks. We're going to be breaking them all down, folks. So if you liked the content, if you liked the segments, all the fun stuff, drop a like, man. Share the show with your friends. All the good stuff. AJ, you got any last words for the people?
Man, click that button, help us out.
Right.
Derek said it a lot of the time. 80% of our viewers out there aren't even subscribed, so help us out. Boost up that algorithm. We go back, we look at all the videos, like the comments, subscribe. Do what you got to do, folks. We already know you're on YouTube looking at stuff anyway. Help the homies out. Yes, next week the cover might not look that impressive, but the fights are going to be bangers going forward. It's going to be a fun one. Tune in. Like Derek said, 2 shows a week. We out here earning y'all some money. Let's get it going, folks.
Let's not forget, man, on the week. So what? I went 5-1. You went 4-2, right? Overall, what is that? 9-3 for combined? Come on, man. We out here hitting. Like, we're breaking them down. We're telling you why we picking the picks. enough said, folks. As always, we appreciate you being here with us, but catch us next time, man. Mondays and Fridays at 8 a.m. The short clips, they drop at noon on Mondays and Fridays. So if you don't want to watch the whole thing, you just want to watch some certain segment, we got you. Say less. Until next time, folks. Peace.